In every transaction, we hope the real estate contract goes from signing to closing, when there is full performance by the buyer, seller, and other parties involved, like the mortgage lender, closing attorney, and real estate brokers. At the end of a closing with full performance, the buyer has tendered the purchase price to the seller, and the seller has conveyed the property to the buyer by a written deed. Occasionally, real estate contracts are not fully performed. This partial performance can have two results. Either the party not in compliance fulfills their duties voluntarily or by force, or the real estate contract is terminated. Termination of a contract means that the contract is void, has no legal effect, and the parties no longer have any obligations under the contract. There are a number of reasons termination can occur. In the context of real estate contracts, the reasons include failure of the buyer to obtain financing from a bank, the property having a significant defect discovered during inspection, or a problem in the title history that cannot be cleared up in a reasonable amount of time. When the real estate contract is terminated, the parties may go their separate ways and pursue other transactions. But it's very common in real estate contracts to require the buyer to pay an earnest money deposit. The earnest money deposit is usually held by a third party and serves as security for the buyer performing his end of the bargain. In other words, if the buyer backs out of the transaction for no valid reason, then the earnest money gets turned over to the seller. If the buyer has a valid reason, as contemplated in the real estate contract or state statutes, then the buyer gets the earnest money deposit back. If there's a dispute regarding who gets the earnest money, then the escrow agent, holding the earnest money, deposits the funds with the court in an action called an interpleader and allows the court to resolve the dispute. An example of where an interpleader action may be necessary is if the buyer claims that he cannot get a mortgage that conforms to the terms of the contract, thereby making the payment unaffordable. But the seller claims that the buyer did not make sufficient effort to apply for a mortgage loan and intentionally tanked the deal. Contracts can also be terminated by mutual agreement. Sometimes parties decide on their own to pursue other options. Real estate contracts contain terms for mutual agreement to terminate, like the ones mentioned earlier. But there are circumstances where the parties agree to walk away aside from reasons stated in the contract. For example, if the buyer finds a more suitable property at a lower price, while the seller finds a buyer offering a higher price for his property, the parties can simply sign a release document mutually terminating the contract and releasing the other party from their obligations under the contract and for liability. A real estate contract can terminate by the passage of time. It is common for offers to purchase residential real estate to come in the form of complete contracts with a time limit for the seller to accept the offer. If the seller does not sign the contract within the allotted time, then the contract is terminated. Another way to mutually release a contract is through novation. Novation is when a material obligation is changed in a contract, or an entirely new contract is substituted for the original one. For example, if the seller and buyer have a real estate contract regarding the seller's property at 123 Smith Street, but the seller decides that he does not want to sell that property and instead offers a new property to the buyer. Let's call it 500 Jones Street, and the buyer agrees they can amend their original real estate contract to change the subject property. They may also amend the purchase price and reset the time for inspection of the real estate and the title history. This is a novation, swapping out a material term of the contract. The termination aspect of novation here releases the parties from the obligations of the original contract. The seller is no longer obligated to sell 123 Smith Street, and the buyer is no longer obligated to buy this property. Another version of novation is to change the contract entirely. In a similar circumstance to the one we just described, where the seller offers a new property to the buyer, if the parties want to change all of the other material terms regarding the transaction, it may be simpler to just draft and sign an entirely new contract. Similarly, the original contract is terminated by execution of the new contract, which should make reference to termination of the original contract. The buyer and seller are no longer obligated to complete any of the terms of the old contract and are only obligated under the new contract. A contract can also be terminated by operation of law. One remedy available to a party who is aggrieved when the other party fails to fulfill their part of the contract is to file a lawsuit for damages or specific performance. For example, if the seller is ready and willing to sell a parcel of real estate to the buyer pursuant to a written contract, but the buyer does not show up at the closing and does not pay over the money required pursuant to the contract, then the seller can file a lawsuit against the buyer asking the court to award monetary damages for the breach of contract or specific performance, compelling the buyer to complete the contract. Similarly, if the seller, pursuant to a contract, accepts the money from the buyer but refuses and fails to give the buyer a deed for the property, the buyer can file a lawsuit against the seller, demanding monetary damages, like the return of the purchase money, or specific performance, requiring the seller to sign a deed for the property and transferring title to the buyer. Usually, a party who feels wronged by a breach of contract will file a lawsuit quickly if it's necessary. After all, in most real estate transactions, time is of the essence. Large sums of money are tied up, and every hour a property is off the market, the seller could lose an untold number of sales opportunities. But there are times when the aggrieved party will not take legal action so quickly. If the seller actually wants to keep the property for a while, like in the case of a commercial property where the seller is receiving rent from tenants, there's just no rush to the courthouse. Or perhaps the buyer found another suitable property and is in no rush to sue the seller. Can a party wait forever to pursue their claim? In short, no. Each state has a statute of limitations, or time limit, on how long a person can wait before filing a lawsuit to assert a legal claim. The statute of limitations on written contracts varies between 4 and 10 years depending on the state. If the claimant waits longer than the statute of limitations allows, their claim is barred and the contract is terminated by operation of law. A party cannot bring an action after the statute of limitations elapses. Another way contracts can be terminated by operation of law is bankruptcy. Contracts for the purchase and sale of real estate are considered to be executory contracts under the United States Bankruptcy Code. When a person or company files for bankruptcy protection in the bankruptcy court, their assets become property of a bankruptcy estate. The estate is administered by a trustee appointed by the United States government. The trustee's job is to make sure that the bankruptcy debtor's assets are distributed according to the law and in the most financially advantageous manner. Usually, with a real estate purchase and sale agreement, the trustee will cancel the contract using his powers under the bankruptcy code. If the debtor is the buyer, the trustee will not want to use up available cases to add more property to a distressed estate, or allow the debtor to take on even more debt that he cannot pay. In the case of a debtor who is a seller, the trustee may or may not cancel the contract depending on the market value of the property and whether the trustee determines he can get a better deal elsewhere. If the trustee takes no action and the debtor completes the bankruptcy process, then the debtor is discharged and no longer obligated to pay the debts that accumulated before the time the bankruptcy case was filed. In the case of a buyer who was obligated to complete the purchase of real estate pursuant to a real estate contract, this may discharge his obligation to complete the contract. In the case of a seller who is a debtor, most bankruptcy cases result in the debtor losing their real estate. If the real estate is taken from the seller during the bankruptcy case to pay debts, then obviously the discharge ending the case results in the real estate contract being terminated by operation of law and impossibility.